You're welcome here if you're she, he, we or they. You're welcome here if you're gay, straight or working it out. You're welcome here if you're in a relationship, single, divorced or widowed. You are welcome here if you're inked, pierced, both or neither.
You're welcome here if you're young.
Or young at heart.
You're welcome here if your neurons like to be typical or like to be spicy. You're welcome here if you're more Christian than Colin from Witch Hazel or haven't got the whole faith thing yet.
You are welcome here if you're living on a prayer or could use a prayer right now. You are welcome here if you've got it all sorted or if you've got doubts. You are welcome here.
Rises, the sun slips sight, begins the ritual of this night, for those convinced their path is right. Gathered from north, south, east and west, yet called at another's behest, those treading the path that is left. From near and far, come as you are to this place and embrace this space as darker hue embraces you. Of water, spirit, earth and fire, confessing the sins of empire, we come with our wounds and desire. Sensing that we are not alone, drawn to the flame that guides us home, for here, you, me and yet to be. Importance and signs of these times, for the sake of all those maligned, is yet the home of the divine.
Hello. How are you? Are you alright? Good to know how you are, how you have been. Hi, Belle. Haha, awesome. It's an awesome one, and yeah, the weather holds out. Stella, if you're around, it'd be good to check whereabouts in Europe you are currently, and if you are anywhere near me. Yeah, it'd be good to maybe catch up tomorrow if you're still relatively in the neighborhood. What was that? Was it on the first Ricky Joe album about something about neighborhood? Brilliant. Oh, Ricky Joe. Man, I miss them. Anyway, so yeah, how you doing? We're going to share some good news, and no, that's totally cool. And to you too. I hope it's a good one. Howdy do, David. Hope you're right in Texas, and yeah, all is well with you. Yeah, hopefully people will share that's positive, cheer them up, that they've enjoyed the focus last week. Do let us know in a comment while we take some time while you do that with this.
it's all gone too, shall we be downcast too? Or stand shield to shield, together in the field, we refuse to yield. Steadfastly holding the line, full of winds in eternity's time. We keep pressing forward until the last, and our cry shall be forever. Choose attack.
So yeah, I guess choose attack for you, Isabel. At Stone Dead. Lay it rock hard. Choose attack for you, David, and I guess mine for this week is 2. Yeah, so by Witch Hazel album, which I got to the point of going, maybe I didn't order it. Oh, that was careless. And then somebody from Bad Records, who Witch Hazel signed to very kindly, got in touch going, dude, your Witch Hazel kind of bundly thing has been returned to us. What's going on? And they tried to deliver it, and they put a car through, and what's going on? Well, I moved house. That's what went on. Whoops. And I thought I have got kind of redirection in place, but for whatever reason, this slipped through the net, and they very kindly reposted it to me, and it arrived, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that. So that's something to a box later on. Excellent packaging. I know that puts me at least about a month behind people like Nigel. So those of you who haven't boxed, we salute you. Yeah, those of you who haven't boxed, we salute you. I guess the other choosing attack from me is for just the whole ADHD assessment process, which happened on Monday, and the psychiatrist that I saw making it as okay an experience as it could be. And so yeah, choose attack for that. We see this is it. It's about dance like no one's watching, but the Lord's everywhere, so that's cool. And he is the Lord of the dance, so it's cool just to dance how you are, where you are, whenever you are, however you are. And yeah, so that's been cool. Yeah, and yeah, so my choose text. Thank you for sharing, whether it's now or in the past, the future, from now, what you are thankful for. Thank you for sharing what this day has made you say. But maybe things have not rocked like stocks in a tumble dryer. Maybe you aren't at a music festival this week. Maybe things have been heavy and not in a cool way. So an opportunity to acknowledge that by showing what it is you want to kind of lay down, let go of, turn away from, leaving the week that was, and step into whatever the next best step is for you. Kind of do that, but develop that sense of doing it together and not on your own. So if there's anything you want to share along those lines, please do in a post on YouTube or Twitter. Cool. Big Texas two-step. That's fantastic. I once went to, so I guess in the UK we have barn dancers, which I think the technical, probably Celtic name is Kayleys. And I just thought it was like either in Ireland if your name's Kaylee or something, but apparently that's like a, where I lived anyway, it was kind of a barn dance. Which seems to perhaps it means they have more, given themselves more of a license to absolutely, I suspect, not to do justice to some fine American music. But yeah, I've been to some like line dancing thing at one of my churches, and I am not cut out for it. Whether it's I have 2 left feet, whether it's a dyspraxic thing, but kind of, I mean, if it was solo line dancing, that's probably the safest for everyone, where I'm concerned. But yeah, I can't walk in a line, let alone dance in a line. Yeah, and yeah, and you know, especially after the The food that was put on. Oh, Ring of Fire. Anyway, and other Johnny Cash songs are available. Anyway, so a chance to lay down that stuff, which is not cool. And to do that together.
As the light fades from sight, all is lost into darkest night. Sticks and stones, also
So that's just a question, Billy. I'll tell you. I'll tell you who's at Leeds Festival. I'll tell you who's at Leeds Festival tonight. That'll be Travis Scott. Who's that? I've never heard of any of these people. Who's what? Who's you? I've heard of them. The Kooks. Blah blah blah. Oh, Bring Me the Horizon. And Shikari. Oh yes. Yeah. But I suspect that's not what you mean, is it? Is it because you're there? Amazing. Brilliant. That is cool. May you keep rolling. And may you particularly enjoy if Bring Me the Horizon play Activist. Antifist? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, yeah. I hope it's awesome. Have a fantastic time. Oh, really? Cool. We were going to have band practice this week, but we realised it meant going through Leeds to get to Harrogate. I was like, no. Having lived just outside Leeds, in between Leeds and Wakefield, I remember now there's a reason why I go towards Wakefield during this time. But yeah, so may you have an awesome time. And hi, Rachel. I hope you're all right. So just a chance to acknowledge those things that we want to lay down, and let go of. I guess for me, I think having now been diagnosed, you like this, Billy, as well as autism, being diagnosed with combined AD and HD. I was kind of hoping for ACDC and artistic, but I'm ADHD autistic. So yeah, laying down, kind of getting your head around that. Yeah, well, it's nothing. Well, it tells me something I didn't know, but I'm still me, so it's just something else to process, isn't it? So yeah, let's whatever it is that's on your mind and is heavy, not in a cool way, let's acknowledge it and let go of it with these words.
The principalities and will to power, the worms from within my own darkest hour. I confess all the regrets and the regrets, the burdens and fears, the lament and the tears. I lay them down.
As we do, I believe that the divine in the person of Jesus, who is a long-haired bearded dude from Nazareth, comes running out to meet us, arms open wide, saying, "Come to me, or you who are weary and heavy laden." Even if you don't like Iron Maiden, even if they're not playing at Leeds Festival or Reading Festival, but Bring the Horizon are so cool. And I will give you rest. May rest and peace and awesome festival list, whether you are at Stone Dead or whether you are at Leeds, Reading, or anywhere else, or two-stepping in Texas, or just taking it as it comes in bits of Derbyshire or wherever you are, Germany. Yeah, may rest in peace be yours the way you need it. So, and now, reading from the Bible, what is metal? The Metal Bible, which is so metal, it is made of paper. Yes, it is. So, I'm trying to find it. There it is. So, if you want to look at it in a metal Bible, any other sort of Bible, online, whatever, it's Luke chapter 13 and verses 10 to 17. And the reason I'm choosing it is that there's an Old Testament reading that's set for Sunday, which is the calling of God calling Jeremiah to be a prophet, so someone who kind of speaks truth to power and talks about justice. But God calling Jeremiah to that when Jeremiah was just a wee lad. Done all the ways he chooses. And so kind of linked to that is this reading about a woman encountering Jesus. And it says, now Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath, which is the Jewish day of rest. So have an awesome Sabbath to Jewish friends. And just then there appeared a woman with a spirit that had crippled her for 18 years. She was bent over and was quite unable to stand up straight. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Woman, you are set free from your ailment." He laid hands on her immediately, and she stood up straight and began praising God. But the leader of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had cured on the Sabbath, dun, 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 kept saying to the crowd, "There are 6 days, 6, on which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be cured, and not on the Sabbath day." But the Lord answered him and said, "You hypocrites, doesn't each of you on the Sabbath untie their ox or donkey or animals that you use, and take them away to let them bathe and refresh?" Yeah. So, if you do that for animals as part of God's creation, how much more so, or not this woman, who's a daughter of Abraham, be set free from what she's kind of suffered with. And when he said this, all his opponents were put to shame, and the entire crowd was rejoicing in the wonderful things that he was doing. So, I don't know what you think of that reading. really useful to hear your thoughts. Yeah, so any initial thoughts about reading? If you heard it before, yeah, would love to discuss it with you in a moment, or we have some time to think and to post comments. Right then, let's be up in it. Let's get into this. Um, leaving aside kind of conversation around the healing, I guess what I want to say about the healing thing is that in kind of ancient times, and you know, from a sort of public health point of view, making some sort of sense given our experience with COVID, right? That if you were ill, you were kind of ostracized from community society. You were excluded. And whilst that might serve as sort of, you know, quite a sensible public health thing to stop contagion, etc., but it applied, I guess, whether you were contagious or not, and then you apply things that the assumption was that you were in some way spiritually was something amiss, that the outward physical expression was sometimes linked to you know, kind of an inward thing. And so you can imagine the stigma, the discrimination, the exclusion that happened. But recognizing we are talking about ancient times, looking at that from today. However, that woman, by virtue, not by virtue, but because of her condition, whatever it was, whatever was going on, was kind of excluded and shunned from society. Similarly, the reading goes with us on Sundays, Jeremiah being called as a boy, and Jeremiah's going, "Whoa, but I'm just a little boy. I can't do that. You know, you can't make me go and do this, that, the other. Whoa, who am I?" And God says, "Well, you can, because like I believe in you, and I'll give the word to say." So, boom. And so, I guess I've been thinking that our experience, perhaps, can be that you know, you are not enough. You are not this. You are not that. And yet it seems to me that God doesn't have those limits. God doesn't have limits that perhaps we as human beings, socially, culturally, medically, but and also and also I think religiously put in place that actually we put the limits on. We disable people because of unwillingness or lack thereof to create and construct and plan community, society, communal spaces, housing, etc., that allows for people's differences and that allows them to fully participate. But we assume that whatever is considered the norm, the majority actually will focus on that, and because one person might find that less easy to engage in the next person for all sorts of reasons, then these barriers come up. But God kind of goes, it doesn't matter how old you are. And the same with with the woman. Actually, through Jesus, she's enabled to engage fully back in society and community, as well as all the physical stuff of being pain-free and able to stand straight, whatever But there's this social aspect as well, that God doesn't have limits, and yet it kind of like true to form, where you think this amazing thing has happened, and yet there's something within us in the human nature that will still find something to moan about, to gripe about, to whinge about, to criticize, to judge someone for. And that's exactly what sort of religious leaders do, going, oi, there were 6 other days you could have rocked up here and got healed. How dare you do it on this one special day? And I guess they were trying to give to God what is God's, and it's important, and it's the kind of the balance of working and resting is extremely important. But to focus on it so rigidly means that perhaps we miss the bigger thing that is about life and love and fullness and wholeness. And so I've just been reflecting, and I wonder from your experience, other things that people have said about you or to you and done that actually seeks to limit you. You can't do that because you're a bit rubbish at this. Well, you'll never amount to much, or you can't possibly do that particular career because you didn't get the right GCSEs yesterday or the right A levels results last week. And hearing somebody who is a adult, but a younger adult, who has who is neurodivergent, and one of their interests has been around medicine from when they were very, very young, and they are about to go to do the most amazing course at one of the best universities for doing that. And you're like, boom, there we go. There is no limits in action, and they're going to be amazing. But I wonder again, what kind of limits people have tried to place on them because of who they are, how they are, pre and post diagnosis. And you can apply that to, I guess, ethnicity, to language, to physical traits or physical illnesses, things that are different physically about us to other, all of that stuff. And so there's the opportunity, if you have that kind of sense of limit put upon you, or kind of that sense of stuff that weighs you down and feels you hold you back, that actually the story of Jeremiah and the story in Luke is, God has no limits. God has no limits, and God calls you, just like God called Jeremiah. God calls you, just like Jesus saw that woman and responded to her. There wasn't a, oh, Jesus, can you help me? No, he saw her and went, this isn't right. Boom. Stuff what day of the week it was, stuff what the expectations were, stuff if it's going to bring some grief. So just that sense of there are no limits in God, in terms of wholeness and life and fullness of life. And I hope that is liberating for you if you've experienced any of that. And I guess for those who are part of faith groups, or with even in kind of whatever sort of group, the values that we have, are there ways in which we just need to kind of catch ourselves a bit and say, actually, we're so focused on this is what we think is right and the way things should be done and what is proper, that actually we've excluded and we've missed something amazing that's really positive that's happened because it didn't fit within our expectations and the little boxes that we created, boxes that we've probably tried to put things into for really good reasons. I'm not trying to say chuck it all out of the bathwater, but just actually, if if there is this thing of love that is unstoppable, that has no limits, then maybe we just got to, as well as trying to find structure and the right way of doing things, and feeling that's important, and all the meaning that gives us, and all the positive things about that, actually just having that little bit of openness to, and yet still the unexpected can happen. Still there's something that might be amazing, but let's not dismiss it just because it didn't happen in the right way at the right time with the right people on the right day. That doesn't mean that it's not an amazing thing that should be celebrated. So I don't know if that makes any sense to somebody, hopefully somewhere. So is there anything that people want to bring as and for prayer? Just think about maybe Ukraine and these various talks and summits, and Gaza, and today it has been declared that, guess what, there is a famine. There is a famine in Gaza. And I just listened to News at Lunchtime and lots of posturing about, well, it's a stupid report. So the representatives of the Israeli government, it's propaganda, and you're thinking, whether that's in the midst of all this political posturing and throwing and narratives and all of this sort of stuff, there are literally people dying. There are journalists sheltering in covers that clearly say media on, and they get taken out by a direct hit. And again, I don't know, because Western, there aren't necessarily journalists allowed in to report, so it's very hard to know, I guess, what's happening on the ground. But part of the response from the Israeli government seems to be, well, actually, the reason some of this food hasn't got there is because it's Palestinian terror groups who are holding it and stockpiling it and stopping getting where it needs. So you just think that surely in the middle of all this, there are human beings dying. In 2025 of hunger because they can't get what they need. And that's happening, even if you manage to hide the bombs and all the rest of it, there's still that happening. And so I just think there's so much to think about, to talk about, to agitate for, to campaign for in terms of humanity and peace. And I guess part of that process for me, if you're a person of faith, it is around prayer. And yeah, not just kind of going, well, the all parent divine, the other, somebody just make it happen. But actually, how might we be part of that solution? So what do we bring as and for prayer?
Hide in the peace.
Stay with me. Pray for me. Arms open wide. With fierce side. Crown of thorns for all my scorn. I feel your breath as you love me to death.
Yeah, in addition to all the sort of from a UK perspective, that's based stuff being on international stuff. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rachel. I don't know if friends outside the UK have kind of picked up. There's been a whole running thing. So I guess sort of immigration is a quite a key political driver, it seems, at the moment in the UK, and has been for a while. And there are people seeking asylum who are being put up in hotels. And can I just make clear, we're not talking the Ritz, all right? About some people that appear to me and who've been there a while. And yeah, it's about trying to find appropriate accommodation while people's applications are processed. And over the last few weeks, there's been some quite strong protests. Last year, some of them were kind of riots, and some of them very close to here, and people basically trying to set fire to these buildings with people who've fled places, perhaps some economic migrants as well, but people who are going through a process, and people have pushed against that in quite violent, awful ways. And so it's kind of a divisive thing, and feels quite tense here in the UK in terms of that at the minute. So those people who've been living there whilst waiting for this process to happen, who a ruling was made this week that the one particular hotel where people are, they're going to have to be moved, and so that's been seen as a test case. So now there's certain parties and certain groups are pushing to bring more court cases, and it's kind of going, where are these human beings going to get that is safe for them, as well as, if people genuinely feel that there's been a sort of negative impact in terms of their local community. It just, and and people trying to work that through. Just so thank you for raising that, Rachel. And I guess here we've talked about sending people to Rwanda. Talked about having ships that plonk people on, that was looked at and what looked like an absolute fire trap waiting to happen. And then, we put people in these places, and then people talked about having, campsites. Yeah, I guess it's that. Yeah, with all of this, just that there might be a way of communicating, being heard, and also hearing. But within all of it, some sense of the absolute innate humanity of the people at the heart of some of this quite, adversarial rhetoric that's flying around. Yeah, just so yeah, for peace and humanity and hope across the world, I guess. So thank you, Rachel, and let's offer all of our prayers as we make our offerings for this night to the All-Parent.
To the one in whom all people and all creation have their being, may your kingdom come, your will be done, as above, so below. Sustain us for this day. Show us grace as we seek to show grace to those we feel have wronged us. Save us from the worst that is within us and within this world. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen.
Squeeze me, baking powder. Thank you for being together. Yes, I can't even notice. Oh yeah, no. But in true kind of online style, I need you to like that smash button and bell that ring, so that you get notifications when we are online on YouTube, and on Facebook. And also, if you find this helpful and want to support it and help contribute to things like licenses for various StreamYard that we stream on, for the stuff that we use to create some of the content, bits of equipment when we go and do this out and about, expenses when we go do that, by which I mean like petrol, staying in the Ritz, stuff like that. Not that, then we have a Kofi, and so if you want to buy Hild a cup of tea, you can do. I'm drinking your tea, Hild. Is it your Yorkshire? Yeah, it is actually. Very nice. Do you want it? All right, excuse me. All right, cool. Can I finish it? Didn't spit in it, did you? No. So let's buy Hild a cup of Yorkshire tea. Please do. If you want to support more long term, that's fine. There's some kind of different levels of doing that. And if we want to offer you something in return, it's not putting things behind the paywall, because the stuff that's available is already available in different formats, because it's stuff we use each week, and it's stuff that's on our website at metalmethodist.co.uk. But it's just a way of hopefully if you want to get more involved, and check it out at Kofi. The link's going that way. Please do, but absolutely no pressure to or expectation to. But yes, absolutely. Excuse me. Baking powder. So yeah, whatever this week holds for you, just know that you are not on your own. We are together, and I believe that the divine, the all-parent, the word I use is God, is with us too. And so let's look for those signs of hope. Let's know that we are called to be part of being agents for change, for love, for justice, for peace, and let's do what we can. But just look out for those signs of hope and of light and of love, and point them out to other people, and maybe bit by bit, the world continues to be positively changed into a place where all are seen and known and valued for their innate worth as custodians of the divine. Yeah, until then, blisters and others. Sway with me, Metal Compline. Sway with me, Metal Compline. Good vibe.